भद्रं कर्णैभिः शृणुयाम देवाः भद्रं पश्येमाक्षभिर्यजत्राः स्थिरैरङ्गैस्तुष्टुवागं सस्तनूभिः व्यशेम देवहितं यदायुः ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः. Let us pray together. We offer our salutations to the all-loving being who endows all beings with consciousness. We meditate on the Lord, who is the origin of the universe. Lord, thou abidest in all, thou art all, thou assumest all forms, thou art the origin and goal of all, thou art the self of all, thou art existence, knowledge and bliss. Salutations unto thee. May the world be peaceful, may the wicked become gentle, may all creatures think of mutual welfare, may their minds be occupied with what is spiritual and abiding, may our hearts be immersed in selfless love for the Lord. Peace, peace, peace be unto all. Welcome, dear friends, for this very special Saturday service. Normally we have Sunday services, but today we are celebrating the birth anniversary of great Swami Vivekananda. And from morning, various programs are going on, and one important part, rather the most important part that Swami Vivekananda stressed, that okay, you do your puja, means what? You ring the bell, ting, 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 ting. So that is okay. And then you feed people, prasad and all that, lot of sweets are fed. Nothing wrong in that. But most important thing is to have the teachings. Some knowledge has to be fed in. We have to learn to eat knowledge and not only food. So therefore he insisted that in birthday celebrations there should be the discussion on the teachings of the one whose birthday is being celebrated. And that is why our meetings, birthday celebration meetings, consist of all these. There is the worship ritual, and then there are the readings that happen about the teachings. Then there is the video depicting the life and teaching of that personage. And then this special discussion by wonderful followers of that tradition. And they bring out the salient features of the teachings, especially in the life of their own, the context of their own life, that how they got benefited by it, what they got from it. So it becomes something very interesting and helpful for us. So we will begin today's this discussion by the opening song being presented by one of the speakers in the symposium, Dr. Gwyn Cattle. So please, Gwyn.
Okay. Is that good? Greetings, sisters and brothers. In Holy Mother's Puja, we did the same thing. I'm hoping everybody will join in on singing this beautiful early Christian hymn. This is a variation of it that takes out some of the heavy side of Christianity and is much more Vedantic. What wondrous love is this, O my soul, O my soul? What wondrous love is this, O my soul? What wondrous love is this that caused the Lord of bliss to come down to this world for my soul, for my soul, to come down to this world for my soul. When I was sinking down, sinking down, sinking down, when I was sinking down, sinking down, when I was sinking down beneath man's righteous frown, you came to lift my soul, lift my soul, lift my soul. You came to lift my soul, lift my soul. To God and to the light I will sing, I will sing. To God and to the light I will sing. To God and to the light, who is the great I am, awakened from the dream, I will sing, I will sing. Awakened from the dream, I will sing. And when from death I'm free, I'll sing on, I'll sing on. And when from death I'm free, I'll sing on. And when from death I'm free, I'll sing and joyful be. And through eternity, I'll sing on, I'll sing on. And through eternity, I'll sing on. It's such a beautiful hymn. These are the early Shaker hymns, for those who know them. And I think the... No. Oh, do you want me to go on, or?
No.
That's the opening song. That's the opening song.
Opening song, yeah. That gives you some exercise, to go down, come up again. Well, the great personage that Swami Vivekananda was, and with so many facets, you can speak or even, try to have a study of only one facet, and that will consume the whole life. Like some people have written marvelous, great books on Vivekananda as poet. So only that aspect they have taken and studied that for the whole of their life. Then there are some who have studied Vivekananda and his contribution in music. That in itself is a great topic, and it's very deep, goes very deep. There was One great student of Vivekananda, he was actually a scholar in history. So he wrote about 7 volumes of what Vivekananda and the contemporary India in Bengali, those 7 volumes, huge volumes. And they give, these different types of impacts that Swami Vivekananda's presence created in very, diverse different fields, like architecture, for example, then Bengali literature, then music, then visual arts. All that has been, Vivekananda's contribution is immense in all these fields. Creating the national awareness in India, that contribution that he has for that also is very important. What I mean is that is why we have different speakers to highlight whatever that has appealed to them. And first I will request Dr. Tilak Verma to present his ideas, his take on Vivekananda. So then we'll follow Gwyn Cattell, and then lastly our familiar Teresa Guerra.
Thank you, Swamiji. Hari Om. Thanks, Abhijit. So, around Christmas, I had a phone call from Swamiji late one evening saying that you're going to speak on this day. And I thought he was making a grave mistake. And I questioned him about it. And then I sought guidance. And he said, you'll have to figure it all out yourself. And, so I put it on the back burner for a few days. And it kept bothering me, though, not knowing what I was going to speak on. And then finally one day, at the end of a Tuesday class, I beseeched him for some support. And he said to me, you know that Swami Vivekananda is the author of the 4 yogas. And I got even more troubled because, I truly, in front of many of you, I felt I was an imposter and that I was not equipped to speak on that topic. But divine grace works in very different ways. And I stepped out, and in the foyer you'll see there is a wooden book stand, and they have books to give away, and donations are accepted though. So I found one book, and I walked by it, and I was giving Charlie a ride home, and I came back, and I picked it up. It was Swami Vivekananda on himself. And I said, that's my topic. Because when I sit over there, I look at him, and the question that goes through my mind is not the 4 yogas, but how did he get there? What's his story? And I read through that book. He has never written a memoir or an autobiography. But this book was created by the Ramakrishna Mission based on things he said about himself. So it's almost like an autobiography. And then I studied it sort of carefully. and came up with this presentation on the making of a monk. Because that story, that narrative, is what appeals to me. And Swamiji said, you always take things in your own context. You know, what your limitation is. If you're an architect, musician, you can write 7 volumes. But if you're just a simple, lay person, you make up 7 slides. So that's my perspective. So his early life, he was greatly troubled. He goes over and over again saying that I can be, like a CEO. I can have endless wealth. I can do this. I can have a business. I can have lots of employees. I mean, he does not use those specific terms, but that's what he's getting to, that I can achieve pretty much anything I want. But he's also troubled by the fact that I could live the life of the rishis and munis. And, isn't that sort of the perplexity all of us have? I can do this, create a lot of wealth, or I could do that. What should I choose? And that comes across very clearly through his early childhood. So he keeps remaining puzzled by this. His parents are sort of also, perplexed by it, because when they see a sadhu come to the house begging, they say, put Narendra away, because he's going to give away everything we have to the begging sadhu. So he has that, propensity that sort of left over from maybe some previous janams. And he also has these experiences when he's traveling with his family. He goes into not, maybe like a trance or a meditative state, and he keeps questioning, what just happened to me? What was this? I was awake, but I was in some sort of a, different stage of consciousness. So from there, he transforms and discovers that compassion and a purpose of life, because he meets Sri Ramakrishna, and he says, he made me what I am. He develops a clarity, purpose. He has deep gratitude for Sri Ramakrishna, and he also receives mentorship. This is the true Indian guru-disciple relationship. And it evolves, with a lot of questioning on, Swami Vivekananda's part, a lot of, he goes through all kinds of debates in his mind. Should there be idol worship? Should there not be? And he then sort of emerges on them that if you can achieve what I have through Sri Ramakrishna, make 1 million idols of him and let millions of people pray to him. So from there, the next step is he takes the vows, and he says, I have no family, no friends, no country, I'm a monk. So this is a commitment to a higher purpose. It's not an escape. And he becomes extremely disciplined, and now, becomes a monk. And from there, he becomes a wandering monk. He goes all over, meeting kings, scholars, and seeing poverty. There are descriptions of him begging from door to door and receiving a piece of unleavened bread, which I don't think any of us has seen, because it's described as a stone. You can't chew it. He says you'll break your teeth on it. You get sick eating it. So he has to go to a river and get some water to pour on it for it to become edible. And then he goes without food for like 2 or 3 days at a time and gets sick from eating the food that he's begging for. And then also meeting with kings and other benefactors who will later send him to get proper clothing and then go to the US. So this is sort of the learning that is happening. And then he explodes on the world stage. You just heard from Gwen, the sisters and brothers of America. He becomes, as was seen in that film earlier, the sweetheart of the US press, and everybody is raving about him after many false starts, because he keeps saying, postpone my talk, I'll do it later, because he's still not very confident. And then what he says is, we accept all religions as true. And he introduces Vedanta to the world. And then, so where does this all end up? So that's how he ends up flanked between Buddha and Christ. You know, what a story. And so what is his legacy? He founds the Ramakrishna Mission and Order. He teaches Vedanta worldwide, inspires social reforms, alleviates poverty, and impacts the education you saw in the film of young girls. And he does interfaith dialogue. And that legacy continues today. Even here, we have interfaith dialogues. And it's just such an impressive journey. And sitting there now, I have such a better idea of what his story was. So that's my take on it. And I would like to end by thanking Swamiji for assigning this topic to me, because it was really something that I kept thinking about all these years that I've been coming here. And I also want to thank, although he said I mustn't do this, Jitendra Pal, because in so many ways he's always there for me. Om Shanti.
See my notes. Okay. Yeah, that'll do. I just want to thank you for that, because it echoed some of my own experience in preparing for this talk of, Swamiji, what am I going to talk about? You know, and what came to me was, well, I'll tell you. The title that came to me first was, everything in my life that has meaning and purpose comes from Swami Vivekananda. And that means many things to me. So I was raised by parents who were students of Vedanta. They were students of Swami Akhilananda here in Boston. They were college students when they met him. And so my day-to-day experience from before I was born has been colored by Vedanta and exposure to these wonderful ideas and these wonderful people, these swamis and great nuns and devotees who guide all of us. And it kind of shocks me that to me, it just seems natural until I start talking to people who haven't had that exposure. So I'm sort of shocked that I have had this amazing opportunity to have these teachings and exposures be the air that I breathe. You know, it's not something I stop and think about until I had to stop and think about it for this talk. And what really struck me was how, as I again thought about this talk, is how much all of that experience, all of that teaching that I've received is because of Vivekananda. If he had not crossed that ocean, I wouldn't have known about Ramakrishna or Holy Mother or all of you, you know, this great love that we share. So as I thought about that, I thought about what brought Swamiji here. How do I have this opportunity? And it was because of his love for his people, for all people. But as we just heard, so much of it was driven by his experience walking around India, and even, well, we'll get to some of his personal experiences, but to see how these people were suffering and how they were suffering under the foot of the British invasion of India. His mission coming to the West, as I see it, was to bring those great Vedantic teachings to the materialistic West and to bring those resources back to India, to revitalize India in the great, with the great teachings that she has. And it meant that I was raised knowing, because of his coming here and sharing these teachings, I was raised knowing that all of this existence, all of this reality is relative. And how profoundly that affects every breath I take, every choice I make, I'm quoting a song there without meaning to, that God is everywhere, in everyone and everything, and service and spiritual practice are essential to a fulfilling life. Now, this isn't to say that I embody much of these truths. I live caught in illusion. I'm distracted by sense experiences and my desires for worldly objects and sensations. I get caught up in my emotions, my reactions, my desires. Yet somehow underneath it all, there's a certainty. There's a real certainty that there's something bigger, something timeless that exists and always will exist, and that we are more, that I am more than my physical self. Somehow, because of my intimate experiences with the Swamis and their endless, non-judgmental, patient love, and the eternal teachings that the Swamis and now the wonderful nuns, the Pravajikas that I'm spending time with, because of what they all embodied, that sense of a greater mysterious truth of existence beneath the day-to-day experiences has persisted through my life. So this, another aspect of preparing for this talk was that I realized that growing up, I never really felt much attraction to Swamiji. You know, in Boston, Ramakrishna was on the altar, and Swamiji and Holy Mother flanked those pictures. And okay, Swamiji was there, but I didn't really have a connection or an understanding. And his dense writings don't necessarily appeal to me. I have to really work to go through the complete works. In a certain way, he seemed foreign to me in a way that Holy Mother and Ramakrishna didn't. They were like my family. They were my intimate family. And I remember the first time I tried to read Raja Yoga, which was with Swami Sarvagatananda. It was like going right over my head, and that was true even as I returned recently to trying to read it through the complete works. It just doesn't quite connect. So it wasn't until I was called to Ridgely now that I began to think about Swamiji and to have a connection with him. Some of you know that I retired from my practice in Vermont about a year and a half ago now, and so I had this question that I posed to God of where do I belong, to Ramakrishna and Holy Mother, where do I belong? And where was the right place to settle so I could really immerse myself in Vedanta? And that path took me to Ridgely Manor, which I didn't really expect. Not long after arriving there, my house was not livable. So I was sitting on a box in the kitchen there to meditate, and it was as though I fell out of time into an encounter with Swamiji. Because everywhere there, his footsteps reverberate. You know, Teresa's nodding her head, because I think any of us who go there feel that. We experience how vivid he is, how real he is there, and it was as though those giant footprints vibrated in the earth beneath my house. Now, I don't think he walked where my house actually is, but it's there. It's as fresh and vivid as though he had just walked by when I was sitting there on that box. And in that moment of grace, Swamiji became real to me. After that, I realized I needed to get to know him and to follow those footsteps. So who was he? Who is he? Why do so many people study his life and teachings so intensely? What was it that carried him across the ocean? And why are so many Westerners drawn to this guy dressed in orange, you know? So willing to set aside our social norms and to enter into the foreign world of Vedanta. Now, Ridgely resonates. Ridgely Manor, the land there, resonates with his footsteps and his voice. He caught me. And meditating in the shrine there almost every day, he has become more and more real to me, especially as I walk the paths that he actually walked. I meditate in the field where he loved to sit and meditate. I touch the foot of his favorite couch every day when I walk in and out of Ridgely Manor, and I see all over the photos of him and his brother monks and his devotees, and in my mind I'm joining the backyard picnics with all of these ladies. I imagine his voice and his laugh, and I picture him at that dining table where we sit every Sunday for lunch after Gita class, full of Victorian ladies in their corsets and their layers and layers of clothing and their hair done up, and laughing at his too hot curry, because apparently he always cooked his curry too hot. And then they sat and meditated with him out in the yard, in these corsets on the grass. So what drew them? And again, I was pulled in yet another layer, feeling a kinship with these corseted ladies. And I touched something of his passion, his intensity, his extraordinary intelligence, his love, his compassion, and his strength. But overall, what stood out for me as I reflected for this presentation was his determination and his commitment to the highest truth, a fire that burns for us even today if we but open ourselves to him. Some of the stories that stick out with me in my mind are ones that demonstrate that determination, his independence, his unshakable faith, and his love for people. First, his determination and his independence. I think of the story, the time where Ramakrishna tested him early in his visits to Dakshineshwar by ignoring him for weeks. Yet Vivekananda returned as usual, unperturbed by the apparent slight. And when Thakur asked him why he was there in spite of being ignored, Swamiji said, "Because I love you and I want to see you, I want to be with you." So simple. And we are the same, we all return here to this irresistible love that pulls us towards Swamiji and Thakur and Ma and our chosen ideal, whoever that might be. Another story that stood out for me is the despair that Swamiji felt after his father's death and the endless efforts he made to find work to support his family. It's a perfect example of what and how he teaches me. I reflect on the deep feeling he had for his mother and his unshakable faith in the path laid out by his Dharma. Going without food himself in order to give something to his family, trying in every way to get a job to support them, persisting long after others would have given up. Finally, exhausted and beyond hope in his power to solve the problem, he came to Thakur and asked him to pray to Mother for him. Well, we all know this story, I suspect. What did Ramakrishna do? He sent him to Mother's temple to pray himself. And what did he do? We, I think, all know that story. He prayed to her for love and surrender. The deep suffering that he felt for his family became a path to deeper surrender. And that is true for me. Friends, please forgive me for returning to my present circumstances for a moment in order to illustrate my encounter with our Swamiji Maharaj. It's been almost a year since I bought that house near Ridgely, and I've spent exactly one night sleeping there because of multiple difficulties in getting it livable. I've been moving about, staying with friends, renting short-term places, living from a suitcase and a box or two that were meant to sustain me for, a couple of months. The fear, sense of betrayal, frustration, anger, the sense of having no home, perhaps I say no external home, for surely I was finding my real home, that had been provoked by this experience pushed me deeper into surrender, into faith and daily practice. I sweated it out in the Ridgely Garden this summer and breathed it in the quiet of the shrine. I think I walked miles on the road around Ridgely with my mala, seeing Swamiji right there in front of me, surrounding me with all those ladies in their corsets and all the devotees who followed him, feeling the echoes of his footsteps in the very ground. Was I suffering then? Isn't it joy and grace to have had that experience with my home? Another story stands out in my mind. Swamiji traveling in the Himalayas with a young disciple who's struggling to keep up with him. The disciple falls behind, and Swamiji takes on the burden of carrying his belongings. He falls behind yet again. Swamiji, restless to immerse himself in meditation and in solitude in the mountains, longs to go on alone, but he stays. He ends up carrying everything, even putting his disciples' shoes on his head. Now, most of the people in this room understand what that means, but for Westerners, it doesn't have that kind of meaning. With this action, Swamiji demonstrated to the disciple, and dare I say to me and all of us, the depth of his love, what he will sacrifice for all of us. The trek continues another few days, and Swamiji can't take it anymore. As dinner is prepared, he is overwhelmed with that desire for solitude, study, and to go deeper into the mountains. So he walks off, leaving the struggling disciple alone in the snow with their dinner over the fire. The disciple's overwhelmed with despair. What can he do? He waits by the small fire. As darkness closes in, unsure of how he will proceed, and suddenly Swamiji reappears. Putting aside that existential longing that he had for solitude, an immersion in sadhana to return to his disciple. This is the bottomless love that Swamiji has for all of us. And that binds us to him. This is how he pulls us on. He builds our faith in the path and in ourselves, deeper and deeper into the truth until we touch faith inside ourselves. Sisters and brothers of America, we all recognize these words that resounded through the hall and brought a room of strangers to their feet. They shook the foundations of the West. But what brought him there, this young man alone in a strange country, carrying only faith in his guru? It was compassion for his countrymen whose great heritage had been thrown to the ground by the Europeans. A country ravaged by poverty and disease, starved of its historical wisdom and resources. Swamiji was driven to the West to spread the eternal Vedic teachings and free the West of the plague of materiality, but also to bring the West's resources back to India. Imagine this young man with a pocket full of money and a brilliant mind, with the love of his guru in his heart, crossing the oceans alone into so many strange experiences: suffering, abuse, starvation, cold, illness on the streets of Chicago, that lion heart that could not bear to see the Indian people starving, suffering with illness, beaten down, unable to embody their great heritage. That lion heart traveled without regard, for any of his own suffering, for the sake of his brothers and sisters in the West and the great truths of Vedanta. This is a story of unimaginable determination and unrelenting love for others. These imaginations of his story help me to find determination, a way to keep going in the face of what has seemed like overwhelming odds, to persevere and overcome apparently intractable problems. In fact, Swamiji gives me the strength to turn apparent impossibility into motivation, fear and frustration into determination. He gives me the strength to dive deep and deeper to discover that spiritual reality. His presence and his teachings are the spring of knowledge welling up from the feet of Ramakrishna. His words guide me into a life that is filled with meaning, faith, joy, and purpose. Swamiji makes me examine what is real and what is temporary, what is interesting and what is meaningful, what is distracting and what has purpose. Others before self, truth above comfort, struggle rather than giving in. Our Swamiji is here at every moment if we are the least bit willing to stick a toe into the ocean of that love, to determine to keep moving forward. We walk in his thunderous footsteps. I apologize for my poor retelling of these great stories, but I hope it conveys just a little bit about how he teaches me, how he reaches into my heart every day to instill a little bit of courage, faith, and determination for the truth. Thank you. Thank you, Swamiji.
Okay. So the two previous speakers said that, they asked Swami, Swami, what should I speak on? My reply to Swami was, I don't want to speak. But I'm here, so my talk is the feminine force behind the lion, a tribute to women who shaped Swami Vivekananda. Namaskar, devotees. We often speak of Swami Vivekananda as the lion of Vedanta, the cyclonic monk who carried the fire of ancient wisdom to the West. Yet, today, let us pause and look deeper, as behind every great spiritual force stands an unseen Shakti. Before the world-conquering speeches, before the realization at the feet of Sri Ramakrishna, there was a foundational strength forged in the heart of Swami Vivekananda's family home. Swami Vivekananda himself taught us that Shakti and Brahman are never separate. Therefore, to have a deeper understanding of the lion of Vedanta, let's bow down to the feminine power that contributed shaping his heart, refining his character, and widening his vision. Today, we specifically remember three extraordinary women, not as historical footnotes, but as living forces in Swamiji's life, whose silent sacrifices and moral steel provided a foundation for Swamiji's mission. They are Ragumani Devi, his grandmother, Bhuvaneshwari Devi, his mother, Mainabai, a devotee. Each of them revealing different faces of the Divine Mother. Let us not forget Swamiji's letter to his brother disciples, where he stated, without Shakti power, there is no regeneration for the world. Mother, meaning Holy Mother, has been born to revive that wonderful Shakti in India. We begin with the quiet, powerful presence of Ragumani Devi, Swamiji's maternal grandmother. Ragumani Devi was born into a prosperous and deeply orthodox Vaishnava family. Yet her greatness lay not in wealth, but in inner firmness and silent sacrifice. In his youth, Narendranath preferred the quietness of his grandmother's home at Ramtanu Bose Lane over his own noisy, crowded household. There, on the second floor, was a tiny room, barely 4 feet wide, which he affectionately called tongue. It contained almost nothing. It was a humble space with a discolored pillow, a thorn jute rug, and musical instruments like the tampura and sitar scattered among his books. This was the laboratory where Narendranath practiced music, japa, and meditation undisturbed. When Swamiji's father, Vishwanath Dutta, passed away suddenly in 1884, the family was plunged into a bitter feud. Relatives attempted to deprive them of their ancestral home. During this crisis, Ragumani Devi was their shield. She stood like a rock. She even sold her land in Balaram District to finance the family's long-running lawsuit. Swamiji was deeply aware of his grandmother's unselfish nature and the sacrifices she made to keep his mother and brothers safe. After Swamiji returned from the West, his disciple, J.J. Goodwin, visited Ragumani Devi. She initially reacted with ritual rigidity. Being a strict Orthodox lady, she took a bath to purify herself after his touch. However, after falling ill from the winter bath, she deeply regretted her own behavior. She recognized Goodwin as an austere Vaishnava and felt she had sinned by disrespecting him. Even in old age, she learned the lesson her grandson Swami Vivekananda embodied, that devotion is greater than form and sincerity greater than birth. Now we turn to Bhuvaneshwari Devi, Swami Vivekananda's mother. Swamiji once said, "He who cannot worship his mother can never become great." For him, this statement was lived truth. Bhuvaneshwari Devi was not just his mother. She was his first teacher, his moral compass, and his primary source of intellectual development. She studied the Ramayana and Mahabharata daily, besides having time for music, sewing, and many other chores. She was deeply religious and performed the worship of Shiva daily. Young Naren was extraordinarily restless child, sometimes having fits of restlessness that were beyond control. Bhuvaneshwari found that only pouring cold water on his head while chanting Shiva's name would calm him. She would often say in jest, "I prayed to Shiva for a son and he has sent me one of his demons." Nevertheless, devotees noticed that as a mother, Bhuvaneshwari did not suppress Narendranath's fire. She consecrated it. Naren learned his first English words and the Bengali alphabet from her mother. He also first heard the tales of the Ramayana and the Mahabharata from her. Swamiji later said that he was indebted to his mother for his intellectual development. Bhuvaneshwari Devi instilled in him a fearlessness to the truth. When Naren, in one occasion, came home from school crying because he was unjustly punished by a teacher, she told him he should not get upset if he knew he was right, and added, "Follow the truth always, whatever happens." She taught him to be pure, to guard his own honor, and to never transgress the honor of others, but to be firm when the situation required it. These were not lectures, they were lived values. After her husband's death, she moved from a budget of 1,000 rupees a month to just 30 rupees. Yet, she managed her family with frugality and adaptability. Even as her relatives turned into enemies, she maintained patience and calmness. Swamiji's letters from abroad are filled with his deep concern for his mother. Once writing to a friend, "If there is any being I love in the whole world, it is my mother." And finally, devotee Mainabai, the dancer from Khetri. While Swamiji's family shaped his character as he was growing up, Mainabai, a court dancer of Khetri, catalyzed a profound spiritual shift in his perception of the world. In August 1891, during Swamiji's first visit to Khetri, the Raja Ajit Singh appointed Mainabai, who was a professional singer and dancer, to perform for him, and invited Swamiji to attend the function. Swamiji initially refused, feeling it was improper for a sannyasi. Hearing this, Mainabai sang a bhajan by Surdas. O Lord, look not upon my evil qualities. Thy name, O Lord, is same-sightedness. These words struck Swamiji like a thunderbolt. He realized that if Brahman, the divine, pervades everything, it must also reside in this singer. He attended the performance and apologized to Mainabai, later stating that the incident taught him never to utter a word of condemnation again. In that instant, theory became living Advaita. It seems that Swamiji later saw Mainabai during his second trip to Khetri while attending the Raja's son's birthday celebration. It is recorded that Mainabai and her friends met with Swamiji during his third trip to Khetri and also later on in Nainital. Mainabai was transformed after she met Swamiji. Swamiji addressed her as Mother, a title she cherished for the rest of her life. Following his advice to serve the orphans, she eventually left the court of Khetri and moved to Vrindavan. There, she and her friend Bamribai lived as beggars to support an orphanage, where they were known as Devi Ma. She had become what Swamiji always preached, worship of God in human form. Mainabai lived to the age of 92, passing away in 1962. Her last words were a testament to her devotion. I have no fear, I have no desire, I have no misery, because Swamiji is my Nandalala. To conclude, the book that I use as a reference for this talk, Indian Women in the Company of Swami Vivekananda, by Tariq Kumar Bandyopadhyay, translated into English by Sarah Damath, is a spiritual treasure in which he narrates short and long stories of over 80 women that interacted with Swamiji. I also got help from AI, let's admit that too. Today, we focus our discussion on the strong influence particularly exerted by three very special women, from Raghumani Devi's silent protection to Bhuvaneshwari Devi's moral lighting and fearlessness, and Mainabai's universal living vision of Advaita. They all contributed to the efflorescence of his knowledge. But learning is an interactive process. Swamiji learned from them, and they also, of course, learned from Swamiji. As devotees of Swamiji, let us honor not only his words, but the Shakti that contributed to make those words possible. May we learn truth from his mother, sacrifice from his grandmother, same-sightedness from his devotee. And may we, in our lives, become instruments of that same divine power. Jai Shri Swami Vivekananda.
My heartfelt gratitude to all the three wonderful speakers on Swami Vivekananda this evening. I told Tilak, hey, you have to speak. And first he thought that I am joking. But then he prepared well using a very nice book. It is that Swami Vivekananda on himself, and provided, how the life is transformed. And that gives the message to all of us that our life also can be transformed from the pursuit of unreal to the pursuit of real. So one must know, what is real and enduring, and that which is transitory, evanescent, comes and goes. So therefore, we do not use the word real correctly. I had quoted that example many times, that when I was talking about the spiritual virtues and so forth, about telling the truths, and then this lecture was happening in Boston, and after the lecture, one young lady told, Swami, whatever you were telling about truthfulness and honesty, that doesn't work in real world. I work in New York's that corporate world, that financial industry, and there what values is not truthfulness, but we have to be street smart. Means an elite liar, that is called street smart, elite liars. So it is, and that is, she said, that is what works in real world. Then what to say? I told her, what you call real world is unreal world. It comes and goes. It is transitory. Why call it real world? So therefore, go for that which works for the real world, that does not just come and go, that endures. So this transformation from the pursuit of unreal to the pursuit of real, how Swami Vivekananda's life got transformed, and that tells us life of you and I also can be transformed in that way. Thank you, Tilakji. Gwyn, in her, very personal touches and emotionally charged speech, I have known her for almost 25 years now, and as she mentioned that she grew up with this Vedanta, and she thinks, well, what would have happened had Swami Vivekananda not crossed these waters? We wouldn't have any of these teachings. And so, although she feels even now that, oh, Thakur and Swamiji, Sri Ramakrishna and Mataji, she can feel comfortable with. Swami Vivekananda was very difficult to understand. Friends, that is a superficial feeling that we get, that Sri Ramakrishna is easy to understand. What happens is, we understand just some stories. It is, I remember one devotee making similar remark to a senior monk, much senior to me, and very highly respected. And when that devotee said, it is, easy to follow Sri Ramakrishna, read the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, feels so easy. Swami Vivekananda, so much philosophical stuff going on, all this, it becomes very difficult, very heady stuff. And that Swami said, oh, can't understand Vivekananda and talking about understanding Sri Ramakrishna, forget it. Sri Ramakrishna is just apparently simple, but actually tremendously deep. It is, let us remember that Sri Ramakrishna could be understood through Vivekananda. Holy Mother can be understood also through Vivekananda. Vivekananda is the commentary, like the Upanishads we understand through these great commentators, how they teach us. So that is how the greatness of Vivekananda is bringing the spiritual core of Sri Ramakrishna and Holy Mother to us. And she very nicely narrated the practical feelings that she had as she is living near Ridley Manor, where Vivekananda actually spent maximum time in one place. Where did he live maximum is that Ridley home, that Vivekananda, now it is called Vivekananda Retreat. So there he lived the maximum number of days, while in America, of course, mostly during his second visit. So, and there you see his very human side. He was a human and yet divine. He is divine, constantly in touch with God, and yet a human. So it again is a message for us. Are we humans? What? No? Who said no? Are we human? Yes, say loudly, yes. Yes, we are humans. And so, Vivekananda, human, is also divine. So, we are humans and divine. That is what he kept on telling. Remember, each soul is potentially divine. So, that brings out the purpose of life for us, to manifest this potential divinity into something that is matter of palpable experience. And then Teresa, she very strongly refused to speak. I cannot. I don't talk to me. And so she avoided speaking to me. I wrote to her, I don't compel anybody. If you don't want to, you can have your freedom. I have that email, if I tell her, okay, don't speak, then again a compulsion, isn't it? So therefore I said, it is up to you. If you want to speak, you have the freedom. If you don't want to speak, you have the freedom. And so she chose to speak. What can I do now, isn't it? Yeah, it is her freedom, So thus, and she gave a nice speech that I knew that these three wonderful women who became great instruments in Swami Vivekananda's life and shaping his personality, his awareness. So it is very good. Thank you, Teresa. It is gracias. So it is. So it is. I remember some years ago there was a talk here given by one lady. I don't want to tell name. That it is about the Western women in the life of Swami Vivekananda. How they helped Vivekananda. So this is a counterpart. Not only Western, Indian women also were of great importance in Swami Vivekananda's life. Thank you very much. Vivekananda was the great world teacher. And in this month we will listen more about him, study some of other aspects. Like tomorrow we'll be discussing, he is the teacher of verified and verifiable. It is. So then again we will be discussing some important aspects of his life. In fact, most these discourses and Sunday service lectures here are in a way paraphrasing various teachings of Vivekananda. So, thank you all the speakers, and I am sure, just like I feel very benefited by listening to these wonderful speakers bringing out certain important facets in Vivekananda's life. You also must be feeling the same thing. Now, there is the last program of today's birthday celebration. Oh, there is closing song. Yeah. Thank you. I was going to forget that, but thank you for reminding. So the closing song will be a Spanish song. Teresa and Marcela, both who are masters of Spanish. So they will be. Yeah, Teresa is here for last how many? 40, 50 years. So in United States. So, but still she has a special style of pronouncing. And then when I point out, no, this is not like she said, that suppress. It is actually, we in English says suppress. But and then when I point out, she says, I speak English with Spanish style. So therefore she is Spanish, and Marcela is not so much familiar with English. She also is here for many years, but she prefers Spanish. So it is both of them will sing a Spanish song on Swami Vivekananda. Please come to this stage.
No hay. ¿Por qué? Porque no están los instrumentos.
No, pero Jitendra is gonna.
Can we have Jitendra's music, maybe? Play the song?
But it will be.
Whenever you're ready. Whenever you're ready. You ready?
But the music was.
Accompaniment music.
Yeah.
You have the music? Accompaniment music?
Harmonium?
Without harmony?
Or without it? A cappella?
The harmonium will work. We have, but
Who
who?
plays the harmonium? Okay, let's get the harmonium.
He has the music.
She can do that. Same tune, right?
Yeah.
Is the tune of the song? The song? Yeah, but in English. I mean Bengali.
It's in Bengali.
Is the Dipta Nayana Radivindam Shri Swami Vivekananda.
Same note, same tune,
The same tune.
sang in the morning,
Yeah. Thank you.
You played harmonium for that.
I call it to there so that they can hear, right?
So what we thought about is to have
They're not singing yet.
the first line, we sing it in Spanish, and you can read there, and you can also sing in Spanish. Me postro ante ti, Swami Vivekananda, valiente héroe de la India, ojos de loto brillan intensos.
What's your scale?
Huh?
What scale you're going to sing?
Oh, I don't know about music. I don't know. The same from this morning. Da-na-na-din-tan, dan-tan-na-na-na-na-na-na.
You play and they will adjust the key.
Yeah, that's true. You're more important.
Titi Sri Swami Vivekananda.
Yeah. Nice. Yes. So, let's go. 1, 2, 3. Me postro ante ti, Sri Swami Vivekananda.
Me postro ante ti, Sri Swami Vivekananda.
Me postro ante ti,
Sri Swami Vivekananda. Ante ti, Sri Swami Vivekananda.
valiente héroe de la India, ojos de loto brillan intensos.
That's not the tune, but in la India.
Ojos de loto brillan intensos.
Valiente héroe de la India.
Ojos de loto brillan intensos.
Valiente héroe de la India. Ojos de loto brillan intensos.
Me postro ante ti, Sri Swami Vivekananda.
Me postro ante ti,
Sri Swami Vivekananda. Me postro ante ti, Sri Swami Vivekananda.
me postro ante ti, Sri Swami Vivekananda.
Valiente héroe de la India, ojos de loto brillan intensos.
Valiente héroe de la India, ojos de loto brillan intensos.
Me
Postro ante ti, Sri Swami Vivekananda. Me postro ante ti, Sri Swami Vivekananda.
Valiente héroe de la India, ojos de loto brillan intensos.
Ojos de loto brillan intensos, ojos de loto brillan intensos. Thank you. We were very out of tune, but we did it.
I remember, friends, there was one music professor from Brown University, and his thesis was that these are, the secondary considerations like being in tune, out of tune, having this note and that note. I will demonstrate that you can have music created by whatever kind of sounds, because music is actually modulating the sound. So he had this happened at the State House. He was invited there. We all, about 50 people were there. And then he said, "Hey, come on." He said, "Say, ha la la la, ha la la la." In whatever way, whatever note you can, just keep on saying, ha la la la, ha la la la. And then somewhere singing, hey la la la, ho la la la. Somewhere singing, oh la la la, ha la la la. And then he was having some this wind instrument he was playing by flute or something. And then with that, everything kind of fell in place, and what music it was giving, some what is called in our music philosophy, Indian music philosophy, rasa, that it is, it brings out the joy, So it is, and that sound was, in totality, was bringing out the joy. So it was being a very novel theory, and naturally was not very well received at the Brown University, and you know what happens with that. Anyway, so So now we will have the Shivanam Sankirtanam, and then another important last program is to take the prasad. So after that, today's program, wonderful day, friends. Thank you very much. So we will have that. So please come in the shrine. But while coming in the shrine, you have to remove your footwear. Please remove the footwear right where you have been sitting.
Here. Get the tabla setting. Okay, is good. I'll put one for the organ, huh?
माहीत नाही आता, पण मला त्याच्यावरती वाटलं तसं. ए अभिजित, दिस इज ऑन. ओके. देवमुमापते सुरगुरु वन्दे जगत्कारणं वन्दे पन्नगभूषणं मृगधरं वन्दे पशूनां पतिं वन्दे शशाङ्कवन्निनयनं वन्दे मुकुन्दप्रियं वन्दे भक्तजनाश्रयं च वरदं वन्दे शिवं शङ्करम् गात्रं भस्मसितं सितं च हसितं हस्ते कपालं सितं खट्वाङ्गं च सितं सितश्च वृषभ कर्णे सिते कुण्डले गङ्गाफेन सिता जटा पशुपते चन्द्रसितो मूर्धनि सोऽयं सर्वसितो ददातु विभवं पापक्षयं सर्वदा नान्यादृशा पशुपते रीति मे त्वदीये चित्तं वहामि चरणे पशुपाशनाशिन् निष्ठां प्रदेहि परमां त्वयि ब्रह्मरूपे निर्दोषपूर्णचरितं कुरु मां धृतं च। ॐ श्री गौरी गणेश षडानन परिवार समेत श्री पंचानन परब्रह्मणे नमः। ॐ नमः शिवाय शान्ताय शङ्कराय नमो नमः। शिव साम्ब सदा शिव साम्ब सदा शिव साम्ब शिव हर साम्ब सदा शिव साम्ब सदा शिव साम्ब सदा शिव साम्ब शिव हर पूर्ण परात्पर परम कृपार्णव अगणित गुणगण मुदित शिव हर अद्भुत मौलिक चंद्र कलाधर अमराधीश्वर गिरीश शिव हर पुरुष पुरातन ब्रह्म सनातन स्वानंदामृत मत्त शिव हर साम्ब सदा शिव साम्ब सदा शिव साम्ब सदा शिव साम्ब शिव हर नील
गुणार्णव चन्द्रेश्वर शिव अचल निवास सुरेश शिव सुर नर सेवित श्री हरि पूजित इंद्राद्यर्थित जनक शिव हर सांब सदा शिव सांब सदा शिव सांब सदा शिव सांब शिव हर त्रिशूल धारण भुजग विभूषण अंधकरि पुषिति कंठ शिव हर त्रिभुवन पालक त्रिभुवन नाशक रिपुगण सूदक सुखद शिव हर ईश महेश नटेश कृपार्णव केशव सेवित पूर्ण शिव हर सांब सदा शिव सांब सदा शिव सांब सदा शिव सांब शिव हर मायाधीश्वर नटन मनोहर अखिल जनाश्रय श्रेष्ठ शिव शंभु त्रिलोचन मौलि विभूषण धनुज विनाशन भयद शिव हर कलिमल नाशन शिव पंचानन रावण सेवित वरद शिव हर सांब सदा शिव सांब सदा शिव सांब शिव हर मन्मथ शासन ज्ञान हुताशन यति जन तोषण रुचिर शिव हर भुवन महेश्वर चिन्मय दीपक ऐश्वर्यान्वित मोद शिव हर एकानेक स्वरूप सदा शिव व्याघ्रांबर धर सुभग शिव हर सांब सदा शिव सांब सदा शिव सांब सदा शिव सांब शिव हर हृदय विकासन मतिमल नाशन फणिगण भूषण मधुर शिव हर त्र्यंबक भार्गव पूजित शंकर मोह विनाशक बोध शिव जन्म जरा मरणादि विनाशन दोष विवर्धन शुभद शिव हर सांब सदा शिव सांब सदा शिव सांब सदा शिव सांब शिव हर सुरदल नायक जय सुखकारक दोष निवारक धवल शिव हर तापत्रय हर मदन मनोहर नंदीश्वर शिव चरम शिव हर विनय प्रसारक गतिमति दायक चिर शुभ साधक सतत शिव हर सांब सदा शिव सांब सदा शिव सांब सदा शिव सांब शिव हर ओंकार प्रिय योगी जनाश्रय अजरामर वरधीश शिव हर निर्गुण गुणमय भुवनाधीश्वर निज जन पालक सौम्य शिव हर करुणा सागर शांत सुधारण साधक हित कर वंद्य शिव हर सांब सदा शिव सांब सदा शिव सांब शिव बिल्वदल प्रिय ध्यानीश्वर शिव व्योमांबर धर दैत शिव हर गौरी प्रिय भवभयनाशन रौद्र शिव हर साम्ब सदा शिव साम्ब सदा शिव साम्ब सदा शिव साम्ब शिव हर कामेश्वर शिव नटराजेश्वर श्री परमेश्वर भव्य शिव हर स्वानन्दामृत वर्षक शङ्कर अघतिमिरान्तक सूर्य शिव हर हन्तक शासन घातक भञ्जन पुरुष निरञ्जन भूप शिव हर साम्ब सदा शिव साम्ब सदा शिव साम्ब सदा शिव साम्ब शिव हर आशुतोष हर शिव गंगाधर चंद्रचूड़ गुरु दिव्य शिव हर राजेश्वर शिव मोक्ष विधायक दुर्जटि शंकर शुभ्र शिव हर करुणामय हर वरदा भयकर भुवन मनोहर परम शिव हर साम्ब सदा शिव साम्ब सदा शिव साम्ब सदा शिव साम्ब शिव हर स्थावर जंगम सकल विलक्षण शोक निवारण पूर्ण शिव हर गिरिजापति गिरिजेश जटाधर शशांक शेखर योगी शिव हर मोहक विघातन पातक नाशन मदन विमर्दन वीर शिव हर साम्ब सदा शिव साम्ब सदा शिव साम्ब सदा शिव साम्ब शिव हर ज्ञानेश्वर शिव विज्ञानेश्वर मोक्षद योगद शर्व शिव हर कमलासन ज्ञान प्रसार तरुणारुण समशोभ शिव हर विडमृगधर हर गौरीश्वर शिव वृषभवेश सुरेश शिव हर साम्ब सदा शिव साम्ब सदा शिव साम्ब सदा शिव साम्ब शिव हर नाग चर्मधर नागेश्वर हर ईश चिदंबर ज्येष्ठ शिव हर योगेश्वर हर योगी जनप्रिय योग विदांवर श्रेष्ठ शिव ओंकारेश्वर व्यापक निर्मल धवल हिमाचल वास शिव हर साम्ब सदा शिव साम्ब सदा शिव साम्ब शिव हर जगद्रूपधर वीरभद्र शिव भूताधिप हर विमल शिव हर वृषभध्वज शिव भव्य सुरर्षभ रुद्रेश्वर हर घोर शिव हर सुरगण रंजक तांडव नर्तक भुवनाधिप करुणेश शिव हर साम्ब सदा शिव साम्ब सदा शिव साम्ब सदा शिव साम्ब शिव चंड विनाशन भास्वर लोचन भगत शिव हर निरुपम निष्कल वागीश्वर शिव दर्प विमर्दक काल शिव हर प्रेम सुधार्णव प्रमताधिप हर भीत जना भय बलद शिव हर साम्ब सदा शिव साम्ब सदा शिव साम्ब सदा शिव साम्ब शिव हर पन्नगभूषण हर पुरुषोत्तम परमानन्द परेश शिव हर विबुध विनोदन भजक विबोधन वीरेश्वर शिव धीर शिव हर हालाहलधर वामाधर शिव भयहर सुन्दर ललित शिव हर साम्ब सदा शिव साम्ब सदा शिव साम्ब सदा शिव साम्ब शिव हर कालीश्वर शिव काल महेश्वर कैलासेश्वर सदय शिव हर अर्धनटेश्वर पूर्ण महेश्वर शांति सुधाकर शरभ शिव हर संसारार्णवतारक शंकर सहजानंद महेश शिव हर साम्ब सदा शिव साम्ब सदा शिव साम्ब सदा शिव साम्ब शिव हर राम रव प्रद रामेश्वर शिव राघव पूजित रम्य शिव हर पाशुपतास्त्रद किरात मदहर अर्जुन सेवित शरण शिव हर जय शिव शंकर गिरिजावल्लभ दक्ष मखान्तक विकट शिव हर साम्ब सदा शिव साम्ब सदा शिव साम्ब सदा शिव साम्ब शिव हर राम कृष्ण प्रिय त्यागीश्वर हर मंगलकारक बोध शिव हर चक्र सुदर्शन दायक तारक हर कृष्णेश्वर तत्व शिव हर लावण्येश्वर शरधर नटवर लावण्यामृत लसित शिव हर साम्ब सदा शिव साम्ब सदा शिव साम्ब सदा शिव साम्ब शिव हर विवेक भास्कर ज्ञान कलाधर जडतमनाशक द्रव्य शिव सर्वज्ञेश्वर गुरु स्मर हर भव चिन्मय रूप चिदीश शिव आदिगिरीश्वर भक्त जनोत्तर वन्दे भानु शशि नेत्र शिव हर साम्ब सदा शिव साम्ब सदा शिव साम्ब सदा शिव साम्ब शिव हर वामदेव प्रभु निखिल जगद्गुरु हरिशर गिरिधनुराभ शिव हर गौरीपति गिरिजेश शिवावर व्योमकेश श्रीकण्ठ शिव हर अगमकपुर भय भव गदरिपुहर अजगव शशधर धारी शिव हर साम्ब सदा शिव साम्ब सदा शिव साम्ब सदा शिव साम्ब शिव हर श्रुति शत श्रावित सहस्र शीर्षक विश्वनाथ तारेश शिव सर्व जगत्त्रय साक्षी सुरेश्वर सकल नयोत्कम शर्म शिव सार्वभौम नृप गुरु परमेश्वर निखिल चराचर सेव्य शिव हर साम्ब सदा शिव साम्ब सदा शिव साम्ब सदा हर सद्वैतामृत शांति सुख प्रद आदि चिदीश्वर विशद शिव बालचंद्रधर तरुण मनोहर भानुको समदीप्त शिवः मङ्गलनायक लोकेश्वरः षण्मुख गजमुख जनक शिव हर साम्ब सदा शिव साम्ब सदा शिव साम्ब सदा शिव साम्ब शिव हर उपमन्यु प्रिय महाबलेश्वर वरद पयोर्णव दत्त शिवः सर्वशास्त्र निर्देशक शङ्कर डिमि डिमि डमरुनिनाद शिवः देव देव भव बाणेश्वर शिव दीन जन प्रिय नयद शिव हर साम्ब सदा शिव साम्ब सदा शिव साम्ब सदा शिव साम्ब शिव हर कृतान्त शासक मार्कण्डेश्वर मृत्युञ्जय शिव वरद शिव तुङ्गनाथ रुद्राक्षधर प्रिय पिनाकधर हर भर्ग शिव आदिनाथ श्री केदारेश्वर शक्ति समन्वित सर्व शिव हर साम्ब सदा शिव साम्ब सदा शिव साम्ब सदा शिव साम्ब शिव हर धर्म कर्म सर्वस्व समर्पण वेद शिखोत्थित मर्म शिव दशकाष्टक स्तुत महादेव शिव निगमागममतिथार्थ शिव ब्रह्म परात्पर पूर्ण महेश्वर सर्वचराचर पूर्ण शिव हर साम्ब सदा शिव साम्ब सदा शिव साम्ब सदा शिव साम्ब शिव हर साम्ब सदा शिव साम्ब सदा शिव साम्ब सदा शिव साम्ब शिव हर साम्ब सदा शिव साम्ब सदा शिव साम्ब सदा शिव साम्ब शिव साम्ब सदा शिव साम्ब सदा शिव साम्ब सदा शिव साम्ब शिव हर साम्ब सदा शिव साम्ब सदा शिव साम्ब सदा शिव साम्ब शिव हर साम्ब सदा शिव साम्ब सदा शिव साम्ब सदा शिव साम्ब शिव साम्ब सदा शिव साम्ब सदा शिव साम्ब सदा शिव साम्ब शिव साम्ब सदा शिव साम्ब सदा शिव साम्ब सदा शिव साम्ब शिव हर साम्ब सदा शिव साम्ब सदा शिव साम्ब सदा शिव साम्ब शिव.
So we will chant this pranam mantra.
Namah Shivaya Shantaya Karanatraya Hetave Nivedayami Chatmanam Tvangati Parameshwara.
So let us chant the grace before going to take prasad and then proceed downstairs. ब्रह्मार्पणं ब्रह्महविर् ब्रह्माग्नौ ब्रह्मणाहुतं ब्रह्मैव तेन गन्तव्यं ब्रह्मकर्म समाधिना Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. O Lord, please accept our offering. Bless us, make us pure and all loving. May we not accuse, demand or complain, but love, respect and cooperate with all. May we not find faults with others, but try to find our own faults. May we not treat others as strangers, but learn to make all our own. May we feel the whole world to be our own. Peace, peace, peace be unto all. Thank you, friends. So please proceed to the basement to take prasad. Thank you.